I see there are lots of starting to pile up with all these expensive cars. Like you got the S-Class right there. You got like the Bentleys popping up right there. They got the Bentley, the Speed model, the GT models and whatnot. So it's like, yeah, and then right here behind me, they got the expensive cars like over here. I'm gonna take a photo of that when I turn around. Yeah, all these expensive ass cars. So there's got the Maserati MC20, they got the Acura NSX, they got all these Lamborghinis. Fucking things are just popping up. Mercedes popping up. It's like you can't sell this shit, huh? And this is what Porsche is selling. So you got the 911 SL63. Then they got this Mercedes right here. They can't seem to get rid of this Aventador. This thing's been sitting here a while. So that's not moving. Got this Huracan right here. This blue. That's nice. It's really nice. These are nice Florida colors. You got the STO. The STO is like $400,000. They can't move that well either, so that's just been sitting there. And they got this Acura NSX. I don't even think people really wanted the NSX when it was new. I think, there was a lot of car reviewers who bought them just because they were new, just to review them. And they got this Maserati MC20. So, as you can see, this is the Porsche dealership trying to sell these damn things. And I gotta say, if anybody who's in the market for an Aventador, before, see, the Aventador is already obsolete because they're up to that Revuelto. But anybody who's in the market, they better hurry up and get one because it's gonna be real hard once the collectors collect them. So this is the white interior model. This is a white on white, in fact. They're supposed to have a blue one coming in soon. I wanted to see the color, despite the fact I'm just sticking with, gray, silver. It's nice interior. Really nice. They're supposed to show the electric Escalade tomorrow, the IQ model. That's going to be really interesting. I know they're going to basically make it like the Hummer EV, so that means that that thing is going to be like fucking 10,000 pounds. But, we'll see it tomorrow. It should be really interesting. Hey guys, I was at Cadillac looking around, and look what just came in. I was about to leave, and then all of a sudden, the pickup truck right here pulls up. You got the blue, I haven't seen the blue Lyriq yet, so now that's the blue Lyriq. And all of them are 600 E4s. Yeah, haven't seen these yet. Oh, a green one. I haven't seen the green color yet. Yeah, so that's the green one. They got another blue one. I think all of these are sport ones. No, I'm sorry. Sport ones, luxury ones, and it looks like they're all all-wheel drive. That's pretty freaking cool. So I was just about to leave, and this thing just pulled right up, too. I was just about to leave, and you just pulled up. I was just about to leave, and you just pulled up. Yeah, well, unfortunately, the government's forcing us in this direction. So eventually, it's not going to make a difference.
That's only because they own stock in it.
Well, that too. Not only that, they cut off all the cheap oil from Russia. We used to get a lot of cheap oil from Russia, and now they cut all that off.
Here's the thing. How do you make electric?
How do you make electric? Burning fossil fuels and solar panels.
How do you think they're really making electric in this country?
Burning fossil fuels.
Using oil.
Oil. There you go. Yeah. So that's the blue one. Oh my goodness. And the green one.
Battery goes dead, you gotta stop, you gotta charge it.
Yeah.
3 hours to get a full charge.
Yep.
You want to travel, you could add an extra day to your trip just for charging.
Well, here's the thing. My electric car is just going to be back and forth to work. And that right there is my gas car. So I'm going to hold on to that because that's the Jeep Grand Cherokee. They don't make that no more. I'm just going to hold on to that. I would prefer a minivan.
I think that was the biggest mistake. Those are the best fucking vehicles around.
I'm at 80. I'm almost to 90,000 miles. You know, just regular maintenance and you're okay.
Yep. I think that was a mistake to get rid of that Jeep.
I'm going to keep this. I'm going to keep this.
What I'm saying is, I think it was a mistake that Jeep got rid of that Jeep.
Yeah. Well, they have to keep on coming up with new stuff. You know, they have to keep you buying.
I know. I still got my beliefs. Like everybody else has theirs.
Yeah.
I might know if I take that shop off, huh?
That's a nice color.
I love it. My last car carrier was that color.
Where did you drive these from?
Tennessee.
Tennessee. Wow. Jesus. That's some ride. You have a lot of people talking to you on the road? Nah?
I keep my CB off so I don't have to deal with
Ah. This is the blue Lyriq.
I've been doing this for 35 years. I just...
Looks exciting. Yeah, why are y'all coming over here? You see the man? He's up here trying to pull the Lyriq off the goddamn tow thing. So why are y'all coming over here? Go around. What's wrong with these people? These people are dumb. Oh yeah, that's nice. My car is coming soon. I have no idea when, but it's coming. I don't know how long I'm going to have to wait to get my damn car. This guy's got the XT6 right here. So let's look at this sticker. This is a luxury one. This is a luxury one, and this is $67,210. See, that's the problem. Mine is a Sport 3. So I ordered 22-inch wheels. I ordered the power moonroof. It looks like he doesn't... None of these have power moonroofs because I don't think that was an option on this trim. Or at least nobody has it because I don't see it up there. But this is a luxury one. So I've seen Sport ones, I've seen luxury ones, and I've seen the regular tech models. But, wow. So right here, this is a 2024 Cadillac XT4. Now, the XT4 is the smallest of these crossovers, and supposedly there's an electric version similar to the Lyriq replacing the XT5. There's an electric version called the Optic, and that's already being released in China. So what they basically did was they took the interior main parts from the Lyriq, like this side screen, this big screen, and they basically made the interiors of the XT4 look more like what you'd get if you were getting a Lyriq. So the interior is nice. It's a small car, but the interior is nice. I'm seeing a lot of these on the road because this is relatively unaffordable. It's relatively affordable for what you're getting. But what I actually really like was the XT4 gives you massage seats, and as you can see, they give you heated and cooled ventilated seats along with that massage, which is odd because the current XT5 still doesn't offer that. And they, like, the XT5 will offer ventilated and heated seats, but they don't offer massagers. I just think that is so, unfortunate, because you'd think that if you're spending more money that you'd be able to get more equipment. but it just doesn't always work out that way. So you got the heated seats right there, cooled seats for the driver, cooled seats and heated seats for the passenger. And both the passenger and the driver get massage seats in here. So that's really nice. Now the back seat isn't as big, obviously, as the XT5. I've sat in the back of this car. It's a little cramped. I actually prefer the XT5. I like driving the XT5. The XT5 is a really nice driver. But it's nice what they've done with it. This was always a decent looking and decent driving car. The only thing that I think some people had a problem with was the fact that you can only get the small 2-liter turbo engine with the XT4, and they've recently introduced the 2-liter turbo into the XT5. Now there's some people who, for whatever reason, they overlook the interior luxury features, and they're determined that they have to get a V6 or they have to get the biggest engine available, even if it's wasteful. But my thinking is, as long as the engine's reliable, it's like, as long as it has enough power to actually merge into highway traffic and get off the highway, I don't see the problem with having an engine that's relatively weak. However, I will say I prefer electrification much more, because when you have an electric car, it totally allows you to ignore how powerful the engine and how well it's made into the transmission is, because all of these electric cars basically drive the same. It's effortless acceleration, instant torque. They start moving immediately. So, this is a nice car. I think you can also get this with the heads-up display. This one doesn't have it, but chances are there's no heads-up display available on the 2024 because of this new screen design. And maybe they do have it, but for the most part, when you have a screen that crosses over like that, you really wouldn't need it. So it is what it is. It's a nice car, though. I like the dash work that they've done in here. Some people complain it's too small, but it works. There's something I've thought I should mention. About, almost a week ago, I had test driven the Lucid Air, and part of the reason why I did that was because they were having a summer sale event, I guess you could say. And it was about $1,000. It was basically like $995 plus tax for the lease. And then what I noticed just recently was they reduced the price to $795 for that same exact lease. So basically, you're talking about a bare bones model of the Lucid Air. So you're talking about like heated seats without ventilation, without massage, but it's an all-wheel drive model they're trying to sell, 10,000 miles a year, and basically they dropped the price by $200. So I actually thought that was pretty cool that they did that within such a short period of time. So they've actually put it right next to the BMW iX, which is also being leased at around that exact same price for the 10,000 mile. I guess you could call it an ultra low mile lease. So if you're interested, you should check this out just in case you're interested. On the stock market front, the Dow is only down a couple of 100 points today, but there was some big sell-off a few days ago. Now, from what I ascertained, that sell-off was mostly limited to tech stocks, and it was centered around AI. I believe the company C3 AI, if I have that right, I believe that they went down a little bit. What is it called? C3 AI. Yeah, the company is actually called AI C3 AI. So if you look at them within just this week, they went from, They went from a high of about 41 down to 35.99. And they were just one of a few companies that actually had that sell-off. Like, for example, if you go to Microsoft, you look at them within the week, they went from, a high of 333 down to 326. And then you also have NVIDIA. During this week, they were a little bit more stable in price.
They went from 454 to right now they're about 446. And if you look at Apple, everybody was talking about Apple all week. They went from 194 down to 179. Take a look at Google. Google actually went up. So Google went from 129 to 131. And if you look at Amazon, Amazon went from 129 to 139. And then if you look at Tesla, there was a bit of a sell-off in Tesla, but that's not something that I'm actually surprised about. Tesla is heavily options traded. And because of that, their numbers tend to swing very wildly. So Tesla was at 255 during the beginning of the week and had ended at 249. So, yeah, there was a bit of a sell-off there. And I'm not really worried about it because, see, once again, I'm not a day trader. I buy, I hold for long terms, and if and when I do decide to sell, I'm going to be selling like years from now. So I'm not really worried. I just thought that it was really interesting when it happened. I heard a lot of people talking bad, specifically about NVIDIA when it came to AI. And you also have to understand, part of the issue that we're having is the United States and China's markets are so intertwined that because Americans have been buying less stuff that's been shipped from China, China's having right now, they're going basically into recession. They're talking about deflation of the yuan. On top of that, there's a lot of malls in China that are closed. On top of that, there's a lot of factories. There's a lot of production that normally would be shipping to America that's closed. I've also noticed that there's been a lot of people who have been trying to sneak contraband processors, contraband iPhones and stuff into China. And I believe they're having issues with high tariffs, deflated currency, and there's just generally a lot of economic issues over in China, and specifically their real estate market is very heavily in debt. They're saying that the debt could exceed $100 trillion of real estate debt. And the real estate market doesn't really bode well for their street market because obviously real estate, more people are more likely to put investment into real estate than they are to put their investment into just stuff in order to put into the house. Because obviously you have to have a house before you go out and buy stuff. So one thing affects the other. So if you have a recession in one, you're going to have a recession in the other. Other than that, again, I'm not really worried about the decline in those prices. I also notice, the American automakers are marginally down a little bit, but they're not down by very much. I've also noticed in the crypto market has still not recovered. The crypto winter continues. Bitcoin still has trouble holding a $30,000 number. And then on top of that, XRP, these people thought XRP was going to go skyrocket. Thought they were going to the moon. XRP is still sitting at 64 cents. And it's sad because when you talk about the reasons why these things aren't moving, nobody wants to either believe it or know. Everybody, like, it's funny because there's a lot of these fake crypto gurus who are still on YouTube. And they're still spreading fake nonsense and propaganda because obviously their entire channel and their entire reason for being depends on it. But the reality is the stimulus checks are pretty much done. These kids are not getting handed money that they can gamble. On top of that, you have a situation where the interest rates on borrowed money is so high that nobody's willing to do it. In fact, most people, even though credit cards have been being overused lately because some people are barely making it, the reality is they're not using it to buy Bitcoin. They're not using that money. Like, there was a time when there were people who were literally taking out loans, taking out mortgages to gamble on Bitcoin, to gamble on Dogecoin. And I just could only hold my head in disbelief. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, who'd be stupid enough to do that? But even more important, what bank would allow somebody to do something like that? I also think back right now to when they were trying to sucker people into putting parts of their retirement plan into cryptocurrency. So what that tells me is two things. Number one, there's still some serious moral hazard over at these banks. And it's really the small banks, because one thing I can say is the large banks refuse to dip their toes into this garbage anymore. They refuse to take these chances. So I'll give them that. They're also adverse to subprime housing. They refuse to let these people they refuse to let these people infect their banks again. It's the small banks taking on that risk. The super large banks, JP Morgan and Wells Fargo, most of those banks, they refuse to take on the subprime loans anymore. But when I really think about it, the second thing was they are determined to pump this crypto bubble as much as they possibly can, using whatever means they can, using whoever's money they can. Because for you to even, first of all, your retirement, you shouldn't be touching that for anything except retiring. It astounds me that CNBC and MSNBC and Fox Business News, that they would even entertain that idea of gambling your retirement funds on cryptocurrency. Like that just bothers me beyond anything else. Like I'll tell you like this. I understand some people have trouble getting their hands on cash. I can almost understand some people who feel necessary to go into their retirement to buy a house, especially at this point, like if it's their first house or if it's their second house and they're retiring or something and they want to use some of those funds to buy a house. I can almost understand using it to buy real estate, even though I still don't agree with that. I still do not agree with that. However, real estate is a tangible, appreciating asset. Cryptocurrency has no value whatsoever. I think by now some people are willing to just accept that. The only value that's there is what they've put into it, but it's valued in dollars. It's not valued in crypto. It has no intrinsic value whatsoever. I just find it scary that they would entertain the idea of putting retirement funds into this trash. For somebody to risk their retirement fund on a Dogecoin, that just scares me. Like, where is the person who is of sound mind who says no, don't do it? I just don't understand that. I do not understand that. You see Shiba Inu, you remember how, and you got to remember, it was the major news organizations. They call it news, I call it fake news. But they were all rallying behind Sheepcoin and Dogecoin. Like, they were literally trying to pump this up. And they're still trying to pump it up. It's lost pretty much all of its hype. And they're still trying to pump it up. And they can't, because there's no money behind it. There's no money behind it. The interest rates are high. And there's no welfare checks going out. So they can't do it. I just find it astounding that this could happen. I really do. Coinbase and Robinhood are still sputtering along. Coinbase, I heard, has a lot of their crypto investment through, or I should say gambling. They're trying to figure out ways to link up with other banks and everything, but most banks are rejecting them. And they're saying consumer transaction volume on Coinbase fell 70%. And they said that was troubling for crypto. Yeah, well, I would think that if you had anything fall by 70%, that's a bad sign. Berkshire Hathaway, for example, I'm a B shareholder. And obviously the B shares are not as shiny as the A shares. Supposedly that hit an all-time high, I believe $553,000 a share. I think the all-time high was $555, and that was earlier this week. So it's only a few $1,000s off. It's just $2,000 off. So Warren Buffett and his guys, they're doing great. And of course, if A shares go up, it helps B shares go up. So this is the 1 week for the B shares. And I was fortunate enough to be able to buy Berkshire Hathaway during the crash. And during that COVID crash, I figure, hey, if it's good enough for Warren Buffett, I'll get in on that. And we've been basically up for, what is this? If you look at Berkshire over the last, 5 years, this has been its trajectory, and that's looking good. I'll tell you, if we even go to 1,000, I'll be happy. But you think about it, from the 90s onwards to the 2000s onwards to now, Berkshire Hathaway A went from $9,000 all the way up to $553,000 per share. If that were to happen, oh man, I'd be sitting pretty. I'd be sitting absolutely pretty, especially if that happened within a 10-year period. And I doubt that it'll go that high, but if it even gets to 1,000, I'll be extraordinarily happy. And right now, the Berkshire market cap is $796 billion. So that definitely tells you that given time, it's going to $1 trillion, because there's no way that they're going to sit around that mark and not make their way to $1 trillion. It's just going to be just like Tesla, just like Nvidia, just like Apple, and so forth and so on. And Apple's worth $3 trillion. Meta's down, Pfizer's down. Anybody else? Some of these other EV manufacturers that I've invested in, like Lucid, I'm going to continue investing in Lucid, because the thing about it is Lucid is American-made. Lucid is based in Arizona. And Lucid, I like their product, even though I'd like to see more of their products. See, that's the problem. Tesla couldn't survive with the Model S alone. They needed the X, but more importantly, they needed the Y and they needed the 3. That's where they made all of their profit, their real profit. Moving on, there's, the Chinese companies, they haven't come back yet. Eventually they will, but it's going to be a while. It's definitely going to be a while, because China right now, I just find it amazing that America is having simultaneous problems with Russia and China under Biden. And it's always been pronounced that the Democrat liberals, their goal, along with the neocons, was to bring down China, bring down Russia. But I don't think that their plans are going to succeed. I was watching through this week, Putin was meeting with a lot of these African leaders, and they're talking about grain deals and this, that, and other. And then on top of that, we know that BRICS is making its own currency, BRICS being Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa. So I don't think that they're going to succeed. I really don't. But the neocons wanted to bring down China and Russia and basically take over the globe, but I just don't see it happening. I don't see it happening. So they will forge stronger ties with Southeast Asia, with South America, and a lot of it will be based in energy, which is part of the reason why I've continued to tell you to invest in banks and oil stocks. Oil stocks, especially oil mining, oil discovery, those have served me very, very well. The airlines are right now slightly in the green, but their values are still down considerably. Their airlines aren't going to turn a profit anytime soon. They may never turn a profit. I don't think they ever really did. But oil and banks. SM Energy has been making its way up again. Silica, they're not as high as they were when I sold them, but considering that they're part of energy discovery, they have to deal with oil fracking. It looks like they're trying to make their way back up. It looks like it. But the best thing that could have happened was that Russia-Ukraine war, which pushed these stocks to the peak. So, I was able to capitalize on that. I'm very happy about that one. And these are the banks. Right now, it looks like all of them are in the red, but keep in mind, all of these banks pay dividends. And even though they're in the red, they're only temporarily in the red because there was some market turmoil this week. There was another bank failure. It was a small bank out in the west somewhere. It was like one of those Indiana banks or something. And the reality is, the banks will continue to pay their dividend. The oil companies will continue to pay their dividend. And the tech companies that do pay dividends will continue to pay. And I believe that some tech companies that don't pay dividends are going to start to pay dividends because they want to get your investment interested in them. So hopefully, I don't know what's coming this year. I haven't heard any announced stock splits, especially in the tech industry. But the only thing I can recommend to you is that you have your money ready for whatever does happen.
To be continued.